I am not in favor of labeling other people. Yet for some reason, I seem to label myself all the time.
When we are young, something we all experience is something called the self-fulfilling prophecy. I studied this a lot when I was studying my master's degree, and I was studying to become an elementary school teacher, because the thing is this is when it gets scary, because not only what we believe about ourselves is likely to come true, but also what somebody else believes about us is likely to come true, which, by the way, that's called the Pygmalion effect. So just as a quick example, if a parent or a teacher labels a child as disobedient, mean, or aggressive, it's likely they're giving that label in order to show the child their need to change, their need to improve on those things. But research shows time and again that when you label the child, the opposite happens. Instead of feeling like they need to change, the label sits there on the child, and they actually start fulfilling that label even more. So if you want your child to be nice or kind or loving, then you need to tell your child that they are nice and kind and loving, even if they make mistakes from time and again where they don't act nice, kind, or loving. That doesn't mean they're not nice, kind, or loving, versus telling your child they're disobedient in order to make them nice, kind, or loving. That's going to backfire on you.
So, now that I have a 2-year-old, I've been thinking and worrying, to be honest, more about labels than normal. Because not only is it worrisome to think of what other people might place on him as a label, but I also have to realize that I might unintentionally pass on a label to him without even trying to. And I should say why I'm thinking about this is because of a story that I'm about to share with you that happened at the Yurt. Back in May, we road tripped up from North Carolina to Maine, and our first stop was at a lovely little yurt in the Blue Ridge Mountains of Virginia. Picture a landscape surrounded by trees, no cell service, no people, and so many animals. Perfect spot. When we booked this trip to Virginia at the Yurt, well, I guess I had a pretty amazing vision and expectation of what was going to happen. So the $1 million question is, what got me from this? So I'm excited to explore this area a little bit more and just listening deeply to the woods. That's kind of what I want to do here. To this. Oh, Dayton. I'm so scared. Oh, dude. Don't think about it. Don't think about it. Oh, I hate that. This is why I'm not a nature girl. Before I tell you the story of what happened, though, let's first take a quick trip down memory lane. I was the kid who wet the bed because I was too afraid to leave my bed and risk getting eaten alive by monsters hiding in the dark. I was the kid who convinced my cousin that there was a man eating fish under our raft, and then pressured her into swimming back to shore to tell my mom I needed to be rescued by a kayak. I was the kid who sprinted through the woods because I was convinced a mountain lion or grizzly bear was stalking me. I was the girl who had a full-fledged panic attack because a tree branch whipped me in the neck and I thought I was being mugged. I share these embarrassing and slightly funny stories so that way you understand why at a very young age I was labeled a city girl. And I mean, I also kind of label myself a city girl. I feel extremely comfortable in the city. I feel like I know how to handle myself in the city, unlike when, I'm at a yurt, which this is what has me thinking about this topic. Is my label of city girl the reason why the yurt experience ended up being a disaster? So here's the story of what happened.
When we arrived, I was feeling really excited to be staying isolated from the world and staying in my first ever yurt, which felt very connected to nature around me. We unpacked that evening and we realized Dayton had forgotten his computers at our house 3.5 hours away. So the next morning, I decided to drive back to quickly get the computers and return back to the yurt before noon, so that way I wouldn't miss out on our mountain time adventure.
It is 4:20 in the morning. Last night we got here and we realized that we made it all this way, which is about a 3 to 3.5 hour drive from our house. And we forgot Dayton's work computers. He packed it all in a backpack, and then for whatever reason when we were packing, the backpack didn't get packed. The plan is I'm gonna drive back to our house and get the backpack and then come back.
When I got back, I was greeted by 2 dogs that were guarding our yurt.
Let's see what's going on here.
Hi, who are they? Hi, puppy. You look nice. Who are these friends? Have you met them already? Hi, puppy. Hi, puppy. You're so nice. Oh, hi. How's Felix doing with this situation? Hi, puppy. Though these dogs had collars, they were obviously relatively wild dogs. They didn't leave us or our yurt for over 24 hours, and no one ever came looking for them. Once we felt comfortable that the dogs were tame enough to not bite or attack us, I tried to shift my feelings from wary to thankful. We don't have a dog, we only have a cat, and this was a great opportunity for Ian to hang out with some dogs and make him happy. So we decided to go on a family hike with our 2 guard dogs patiently by our side. This is when everything went bad, by the way. About halfway through the hike, the dogs disappeared, which seemed weird as they had been pretty glued to our sides. Right when I was mentioning to Dayton that it was weird that they had wandered off, we hear this super loud shriek from what I quickly identified as a baby deer. Dayton had seen a deer near our yurt earlier in the morning.
But Ian and I just saw a deer. Ian, do you see the deer? See the deer?
I know enough about deer to know that mama deer leaves newborn deer in a safe hiding place while she goes and finds food. The deer was crying out in a panicked little shriek, obviously calling for mom. Then we hear the shriek start to shake in a higher pitched squeak, and then silence. Dayton and I looked at each other over our oblivious toddler between us, wide-eyed and shocked at what we had just witnessed. We decided around then to head back to the yurt, and as we walked back the same path, the 2 dogs reappeared at different times. The second dog, when he reappeared, had a limp newborn deer hanging from his mouth, teeth sunken into its little spine.
The worst thing just happened. The worst thing. The other dog found us again, and I'm like, yay! Well, she found us with a baby dead deer in her mouth. No, and I'm a little bit traumatized. I keep telling myself that Felix also kills baby mice, which sighs, oh, I can't look at it. Oh, this is so sad. Oh, this is so sad. I'm so unhappy. Oh, Dayton, I'm so scared. Oh, dude, don't think about it. Don't think about it. Oh, I hate that. This is why I'm not a nature girl. I love the outside, but like animals, but they can stay in their little zones. I've been scarred. I'm gonna dream about it. I just know it. Oh, Dayton, she shook it right as I walked by. Oh, we're home though.
Cute baby deer.
What?
Why'd you have to kill a cute baby deer?
I know.
You know what? look like you found the dead either.
It's nature. They see something smaller than themselves. So, makes me a little bit nervous about Ian. And then the dog proceeded to eat the tiny little carcass on our porch in front of our front door. Not a huge surprise, but we ended up spending the rest of our time at the yurt inside until the next morning because the dogs guarded our door literally all night. They stayed with us all night and they barked at things to guard our yurt all night, and we listened to it all night. So I think we're ready to go now. As I'm processing it now though, I am wondering if my label as City Girl had something to do with either what happened or at least how I felt about what happened. So think of a label kind of like a bumper sticker on your car. If you put a really controversial label on the back of your car, that could literally manifest experiences that happen to you, like people honking at your car or people coming up and talking to you about your controversial bumper sticker. So there is the fact that a label can literally manifest things into happening because it's there. The second thing is, if you have that label in your car, you're probably going to be interpreting certain things based off of your opinion of that label. For instance, if you are driving that car around with the bumper sticker and then someone's like aggressively honks at you and yells at you, you're gonna think in your head, oh, he's doing that because he doesn't like the bumper sticker. When in actuality, you stink at driving. Which, by the way, I should say, I don't suggest putting controversial bumper stickers on your car. Not a good idea. But thinking about it that way has helped me process through what happened in Virginia and realizing that my label as City Girl could literally have manifested certain things into happening and definitely impacted my opinion of those things once they happened. For example, what if my label was off the grid girl? Which my label will never be off the grid girl, but hey, what if that was my label? Maybe I would have looked at it totally differently. Maybe I would have been thinking, this is the course of nature. That's a natural thing for that dog to do. Maybe I would have thought about the population of deer and be like, the population is a little bit too high right now, and it's exactly things like this that help keep the population down. Or maybe my label is animal rescuer. When I first heard it, maybe instead of just standing there letting myself feel traumatized, I would have run off the path towards the noise, saved the baby deer from the teeth of a dog that I barely knew and had just met. If I had a different label, those circumstances might have been totally different. Which I don't know, by the way. This is all speculation at this point, but my point is, when I left the yurt, I felt traumatized. And I think that has something to do with my label. I told Dayton that I don't know if I could agree to another yurt. Unless, of course, it was like, I don't know, on Governor's Island across from New York City. Oh, hello, Collective Retreats. I see you. But in all seriousness, as an adult, I love nature. I love being outside. I love being barefoot. I love the blues and greens. I love gardens. I love getting dirty. All of it. I really love it. So why do my nature experiences keep turning out so disastrous or keep ending with me in tears? But I don't love tons of stairs. Labels are no joke. Like, once a label gets stuck to your proverbial bumper, it is so hard to get rid of it. Yeah, I don't even know if all labels are even bad per se, but I love the idea of reclaiming our identity and teaching my son to reclaim his identity and basically founding our identity on something a lot more solid, a lot more stable than labels placed on us either by ourselves or even by people who have no idea what's going on inside of our heads. And maybe, this is a big fat maybe, but maybe, once I rethink my label, I should give a yurt in the mountains a try again. I don't know. I'll have to think about that. Thank you so much for watching this video, and if you've made it this far in the video, an extra thank you, because that means you've watched the entire video. So when we left the yurt in Virginia, we actually headed up to Pennsylvania to explore a new place. So I guess we will see you next time in Pennsylvania. Bye.